What's your favorite YouTube channel? Oh, I like movies you've seen. Movies you've seen? Movies I've seen? No, I'm asking about your favorite YouTube channel, not your favorite movie. That's what I said, movies you've seen. That's the name of the channel. Really? Why? Yeah, well, it's quirky, lighthearted, and low-key extremely detailed. It's great for listening to recaps about movies I haven't had the chance to view in theaters yet. Movies you've seen, you say? How do you spell that? Well, it's spelled the normal way. Actually, scene is spelled scene, like movie scene, S-C-E-N-E. Interesting play on words. What's your... Yee! Movies you've seen just posted a new video. I gotta go. Wait, I'm not done. You get off the phone, I'll slit you like a... She's gone. I wonder if Sydney's still up.
The sixth installment is a part of one of the most successful slasher franchises ever, right up there with Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember being so excited when the pictures surfaced of the Scream 5 cast filming for the movie. At that point, we had been waiting a little over 10 years for a follow-up from the fourth. Scream 4, in my opinion, was a great way to refresh everyone's memory of the 1996 classic. It was a great depiction of where are they now. Scream 5 successfully introduced a new cast with a mix of some older characters and their children, or just the fruits of their labor, and they've even made it a point to mix in some old elements as a nod to the original. Let's get into it. So the movie starts off with Margot Robbie's stunt double, Samara Weaving. Honestly, I love this girl's work. She was great in Ready or Not, and I also really liked her in 9 Perfect Strangers. Oh, and she is in Babylon with Margot Robbie too, so... She's in a bar waiting for this guy that she met online. It's a first date, so she's nervous and anxious, and he texts her that he got lost. He asks her to call him, and she does, and we find out his name is Reggie. This is their first time talking on the phone, and apparently talking about anything, because they literally start getting to know one another, which is a step that I kind of thought you would do when you first meet someone online. We learn that she's an associate film professor at Blackmore University, and she specifically covers topics about slasher movies. As Reggie is still looking for the place, he's eagerly conversing with her. They establish that he's supposed to be looking for a red building on Hudson Street, which is where she is. He's still having trouble finding it, so the associate film professor lady decides to go outside to see if she can wave him down. He tells her that he believes he found the right street, and to get to it, he has to cross through a dark alley. The professor agrees to meet him halfway. As he claims he's coming down the alley, she doesn't see him, and the person that he originally thought was her at the other end of the alley ends up being someone else. In fact, that someone has a knife, and Reggie says they're starting to run toward him. The music is getting intense, the audience knows something is about to happen, and Reggie panics on the other end of the phone. But the voice we know as Reggie suddenly goes away and replaces itself with the voice of good old Ghostface.
The worst part is, you teach a class about slashers and still walked into a dark alley alone.
While the professor is distracted, of course Ghostface sneaks her and does her dirty. And he's like, "Now I see something red." So after 29 slashings, he takes off his mask and lo behold, it's Flash Thompson. This is what he's done with his life after the snap? Nah, in this movie, his name is Jason. So Jason changes out of his Ghostface apparel and blends back into society because not one single person in that city happened to look down an alley and notice a woman getting stabbed into oblivion. It makes me wonder just how many unsuspecting killers we've all walked past on a normal day. He sees Tara on his way home, and as you know, Tara is played by Jenna Ortega. They're well acquainted because they greet one another, and Jason asks Tara if she and her sister Sam will be at the frat party later. Tara tells him she will be, but Sam will not. Jason makes it home, and in his apartment we see that he has a Ghostface shrine with Ghostface masks, and in familiar fashion we find out that he's another Ghostface fanatic. He gets a call from his accomplice named Greg and immediately apologizes for murdering the professor.
I'm sorry.
He claimed that he got blue balls and needed to practice just a little. Greg responds, but it's in the Ghostface voice, and Jason is like, "Dude, we said we wouldn't use the voice on each other."
We said a lot of things.
Jason continues to speak to Greg, who is using the Ghostface voice on him. They discuss Tara and Sam and their need for them to be at the party so they can kill them, as we, the audience, would have guessed by now. So Greg asks him how it felt to murder the professor. Actually, I feel like the word murder is a little strong for YouTube censoring.
R is among the most menacing of sounds. That's why they call it murder and not muck duck.
So we will say muck duck. Jason tells him how satisfying it was to muck duck their professor, and he says it was like she wasn't human anymore and she was just an animal, just a pile of meat basically. And Greg is like,
She wasn't just meat, Jason. She was a person, our film professor.
and Jason is like, yeah, well, she gave me a C- on my paper. Scream doesn't tend to differ from their formula, I see. It's like every guy in their script has some sort of deep-rooted issue with Sidney Prescott or an extreme abnormal fascination with the guys that tried to kill her. We have a mentally unstable, hypersensitive school shooter in the making looking to make a name for himself and his buddy Greg. The two of them have a film that they're going to continue in honor of Richie Kirsch from the last Scream movie. Richie wanted to create a real-life sequel to the Stab franchise by muck-ducking Billy Loomis's daughter, Sam. So Jason and Greg had the bright idea of picking it up where he left off.
Let's play a game.
They end up playing a game of hot and cold, and Greg encourages Jason to come and find him. Jason actually plays along, and he's literally the dumbest Ghostface we've ever seen. Jason eventually finds Greg cramped into the refrigerator, bloodied and dead, and surprise, surprise, the actual Ghostface has been on the phone with him, and he stabs him from behind. And Jason is like, but we have to finish the movie. Boy, who gives about that movie? You're about to die. Sam is at her therapist's office at night and he asks her how she's doing with her new meds, and she's more worried about her little sister Tara than she is the meds. The therapist tries to get her to open up about other things, but he acknowledges that when he tries, Sam would just shut down. Seems pretty pointless to go to therapy if you're just gonna shut down, huh? Sam tells him that she has trust issues, but he still insists that she opens up after all these months of sessions. So she confesses that she's the daughter of Billy Loomis. Her ex-boyfriend was Richie Kirsch, who she killed. And since Richie's passing, she had been accused of orchestrating all the muck ducks and framing herself as a victim. But we, the audience, know that isn't true. Or is it? If they keep this franchise going, it would be a nice franchise finale twist that I wouldn't mind. Sam reveals that she stabbed Richie 22 times, slit his throat, and shot him, and the therapist is clutching his invisible damn pearls. She tells him that she's not in therapy, though, for her supposed trauma. She's there because killing Richie felt right, like she kind of liked it. Then the therapist is like, yep, okay, this is where we end the session. As she's leaving the office, she tries to call Tara on her way home and sees cops and ambulances across the street. And she doesn't know, but we know this is where Jason and Greg had just been mucked up. She gets to her apartment and we immediately hear noises that end up just being two people having sex. It's her roommate Quinn and a guy named Paul. Quinn comes out and greets Sam, and Sam asks if she's seen Tara lately. Quinn lets her know that she went to the frat party, the one that Sam begged her not to go to. She's like, well, did she take her taser? Why doesn't she have a gun? After all they've been through, Sam peeks out her window and she sees this GQ model with no shirt on closing his window across the way. Quinn is like, you guys have been checking each other out for months, eh? The next scene cuts to the frat party that Tara is at, and we see Mindy and her girlfriend chopping it up on the sofa. Tara meets a boy named Frankie. He convinces her to go with him to his room where he has some hard stuff, aka fireballs. Annika, Mindy's girlfriend, sees him walking her to his room and she goes to stop them. Chad is in some other part of the party with a guy named Ethan. Ethan is obviously the virgin of the crew. Chad is trying to beef him up, get him to talk to some girls. He's like, my dude here is a snack. Annika comes and gets Chad to help her stop Tara from going up to the strange guy's room, and it escalates, and a big sister Sam comes out of nowhere and tases Frankie. Of course, this pisses Tara off because she feels that she can handle herself and just wants to live her life without her sister hovering. But if you ask me, Sam has every right to be paranoid about Tara. I mean, look how their last Halloween holiday went. Tara storms out of the party and Sam and friends follow behind. She and Sam have this sisterly argument that is strangely reminiscent of her and Delilah's arguments in You. A random girl comes by and throws water on Sam and antagonizes her for being the supposed muckducker. I'm so sick of this shit. When they get home, Quinn apologizes to Tara for snitching on her to Sam. Chad goes to check on Tara, and this is the moment that we realize he has a thing for her, and she has a thing for him too. She thanks him for not letting her go up to Frankie's room at the party, and I myself am thinking, why would you thank him for defending you but not thank your sister? So she obviously has some resentment against Sam, and as we know now, it's for a multitude of reasons. Chad tells her that he thinks she's special. She's all smitten with him, and they almost kiss until Quinn comes in looking for her phone. Did I just block you? Sam is in the apartment hallway cooling off, and she sees a cute guy from apartment number whatever from across the way. He's about to walk past her, and then she just grabs him and kisses him. And I'm kind of shocked because what if he has the herpaderp? But nah, it's apparent they actually know each other by the way they start conversing. He's all like, I couldn't help but to notice you're covered in cherry coke. So I guess it was Coke that the girl threw on her, not water. Sam is like, I believe it's Diet Cherry Coke, actually. Okay, who talks like that? In the midst of their interaction, Chad calls for Sam to come upstairs. So cute guy follows her into the apartment where everybody is intensely watching the news. Oh yeah, his name is Danny, by the way. There's a report about Greg and Jason's muck ducks. Sam quickly decides that it's time to bounce and get the ASAP.
I'm ready to get the ASAP after this shit.
That pretty much means it's time to GTFO immediately. Sam goes to her weapon of choice, which are kitchen knives. Again, why don't these people have guns, booby traps, machetes, bow and arrows? They are really moving like they were last Halloween. As usual, Tara opposes. The phone rings and it's Gail because Gail can never pass up an opportunity that involves Ghostface.
Doing the thing for clout.
Let's be clear, Gail runs toward danger. I don't even think Ghostface would come after her. As a matter of fact, I think Ghostface would come for Dewey before he would Gail. But I won't lie, her books were the basis for the Stab franchise, so good on her. They forward her call, and then Quinn calls her dad, who's just conveniently happens to be a detective. He demands that Sam comes down to the station. Tara joins her. On the way to the station, they randomly get attacked by Ghostface, but not before he calls them and reveals his whole plot, which is to destroy Sam for what supposedly she did. Remember, I said the public has this theory that she orchestrated all the murders. Well, Ghostface seems to subscribe to the social media conspiracy theories too. They're able to fight him off and run to a nearby gas station. He follows them in there and runs into a customer who thinks he's all big and bad, and he's like, "You got a problem?" He wreaks havoc in the convenience store after the clerk tries to blast him with a shotty. But of course, Ghostface always prevails. He plays a game of cat and mouse with Tara and Sam as they try to run for the door. They're able to skate past him after throwing a whole aisle of chips and candy on him. They get outside to see cops who always are just now arriving. Ghostface gets away, leaving the mask at the scene. At the police station, Quinn's dad, the detective, has photos of Jason and Greg laid out on the table. He asks Tara and Sam for their alibis to make sure they were involved with the Muck Ducks that night. Someone had placed Sam's license at the scene trying to frame her, and the detective asks the dumbest question in the world. Do you have anyone that would want to target you? Well, yeah, duh, the whole world has a bone to pick with Sam. In comes Kirby from Scream 4, yeah. I've been waiting for her to return because she was hands down my favorite in the 4th installment. I mean, I really loved her haircut too. She was just a really good character overall. We find out that she had been in the FBI in the years that we hadn't seen her. Sam instantly recognizes Kirby because they went to Woodsboro High together when Sam was just a freshman and Kirby was a senior. They form a small little bond because they both know what it's like to be hunted by Ghostface. There's a whole bunch of reporters outside, and it's reminiscent of Scream 1 when Sydney and Tatum were bombarded by the paparazzi. Of course, Gail, completely uninvited, pushes her way to the front where Tara reaches back into last week and punches Gail into the future. Why are people so comfortable with committing assault on camera? Sam and Tara are mad because Gail made a book about the Muck Ducks from last Halloween after promising she wouldn't. She also exaggerates a few details and attaches a few disparaging characteristics to Sam's reputation. Tara butts in and says, "Without Ghostface in your life, you're afraid you're going to fade away." Ouch. Take this moment to tell me what your favorite scary movie is, and then hit the like button and then subscribe, and then get notifications for the next time we post. Okay, let's get back into it. Back in the city, the therapist that Sam had met with earlier gets a strange knock on his door. It's Ghostface, and he proceeds to punch through the glass of the door, grab the therapist, and bang his head into the iron railing, killing him. All he wanted was to steal Sam's documents out of the office. He could have just asked. So we're back on campus the next day, and Mindy is explaining the rules of dealing with a serial killer on the loose. They do this every movie, and the goalpost is constantly moved based on the uniqueness of the situation. It's honestly so redundant this far into the franchise, and we need some new ideas, Scream Team. So I felt this was a good moment to go to the bathroom, so I really don't know what was said after that. When I get back, Kirby and Quinn's detective dad is putting together the dots. Before she leaves, Kirby tells him to tell his daughter to be sharp and to make sure she watches her back. When she walks out, the detective tells his employee to do a background check on Kirby because at this point, nobody is safe. Everybody is a suspect. Back to the chronicles of Sam and Tara. Tara tells Chad to skate, like get lost sport, because she doesn't want him to get hurt, doesn't want him to get killed in all her mess. And he's like, nah, I'm in it for the long run. Honestly, he's the only guy that can be with her because judging how Sydney's life went, this is going to be a recurring event for the next 20 or so years of Tara's life. So, no Tara, he can't skate. The news channel is on the TV yet again, and I'm honestly surprised because I didn't know so many young people watch the news like they do. They end up talking about Sam being the prime suspect in everything that's been happening. It jumps to a clip of her in an altercation with the girl from the frat party that accused her of being the true Ghostface. You know, the one who threw the Diet Coke on her. So, out of anger, Sam mutes the TV, like that's gonna change anything. Tara checks on Sam and apologizes for being so hard on her. She acknowledges that Sam has to go through this alone because she is actively being accused of doing something that she didn't do. Chad comes in, gives an uplifting message. Yeah, I think he's gonna die. He's getting way too much screen time. Everybody else comes in, joins the affirmation jerk circle, and they all establish that they're the core 4. Sam is feeling good. She tells everybody that she's been dating cute guy Danny from across the way, and they're all excited for her, but I'm not, because I'm like, he's a suspect. Quinn is in her room on the phone with her back turned away from the door. Ghostface appears behind her and stares at her. Cute guy Danny from the apartment across the way sees this and looks out of his window. He tries to distract Ghostface and threaten him by yelling out of his window. This buys some time for Quinn as Ghostface ends up sliding out of the room, not killing her just yet. Danny tries to get the core four's attention as they're all in the kitchen laughing and talking to each other. So he calls Sam, and Tara jokingly takes Sam's phone before she can answer it. Sam decides that she'll give him a call back later. Then they all get a text message with the image of Quinn getting sliced and diced. They all jump up to go run to her room, but they stop before they get to her door. Ghostface pushes Quinn's dead body through the door and onto Annika. He cuts Mindy in the shoulder, and then he picks up Annika and takes her to the chop shop right there in the living room. He cuts her from stomach up, and while he's doing this, Sam runs to the kitchen to get her trusty knives, and they're all gone. So it's clear this is all a setup. Somebody in the group is Ghostface. Sam hits him from behind with the knife block, and they're able to get away by locking themselves into a room. So Danny throws a ladder from his apartment to theirs because everybody who lives in an apartment randomly has a ladder in there. Duh. Sam crosses the ladder first as Mindy holds the door and keeps Ghostface from coming in. She puts a dresser or something in front of it to stall him as her and Annika try to crawl across the ladder as well. Annika tells Mindy to go first and that she's right behind her, but we all know that's not going to happen. She's literally trying to keep her intestines from falling out of her stomach. Mindy gets across and Annika decides that she can't make it, but it becomes an easy kill for Ghostface.
Finish her!
As Annika is trying to crawl, Ghostface shakes the ladder, tosses it over like a salad, and Annika is... Danny consoles Sam and tells her that it's not her fault that everyone is dying, but we all know it is. Even she knows. She tells him that someone took the knives that were in the kitchen, and because of that, she wasn't able to fight back. Therefore, Danny tells her not to trust anyone, including him. Ethan the Virgin suddenly shows up, and Chad pushes him against the truck, asking him where he was. Ethan tells him that he was in econ class or something, and there's like 100 other people that can attest to that. Mindy tells him that he's at the top of her list. She still doesn't trust him. Quinn's dad walks up crying because his entire family is now gone. He tells the group that he was taking off the case for those obvious reasons, but as any grief-stricken person seeking revenge would, he assured them that this wasn't going to stop him. You with my family, you die. Gail runs up. She has a mini makeup session with Sam and Tara because nothing brings everybody together like death. And in the first time in years, Gail and Kirby reunite. Kirby takes the group to an abandoned theater that was later turned into a Ghostface shrine by Greg and Jason. They use this space to hold all Ghostface relics, muck duck weapons, pictures and drawn portraits, belongings of the victims, and merchandise from the Stab franchise, the movie within the movie. It's some real obsessive mess. Kirby sees the actual knife that she was stabbed with years ago in a box casing. I'm sure she's just disgusted. On the stage of the theater, there's a lineup of each Ghostface costume that was used when they killed someone. It was reminiscent of the way Tony Stark staged the Iron Man suits. Sam goes to her daddy's Ghostface suit, you know, Billy Loomis's. He starts talking to her again. Of course, it's just hallucinations because she has serial killer blood running through her veins, but he is somewhat of a guiding force to her. He helps her and gives her advice, yet he pushes her to kill, like he is right now. Tara comes by and asks Sam if she's okay, and they figure that these occurrences aren't like the other times, that there's something different about this Ghostface or Ghostfaces. Who knows? Kirby and Mindy bond over Stu Macher's TV that killed him, and it turns out the two have the same exact interests. Tara and Sam are still having their sisterly moment, tearing up together and contributing to that emotional attachment element that every horror movie needs. Tara's like, When will I ever get to be normal again? Never, girl. Kirby, Mindy, and Gail join in on the mush. I'm over it. Let's get to the action. Kirby tells the squad that she has a plan, but Gail cannot attend because she's a reporter. But I think that's kind of a heap of bull, because why would you even show her the abandoned theater then? And then why would you take the actual victims with real life PTSD to go catch their recurring killer, but not include Gail, who is seasoned in this and quite knowledgeable? Kirby was just hating. So her miraculous plan that couldn't include Gail was for them to sit in an undercover surveillance van and track Ghostface's call and try to bait him. When will they learn? He's always 3 or more steps ahead. Always. And they haven't even considered that there can be more than one. I swear, they act like amateurs in every single movie. Ghostface calls Sam and Tara while they walk around the park, not looking suspicious at all, trying to implement their plan in baiting him. After the back and forth banter, he reveals that he is on the Upper West Side in an apartment about to make his next kill. Tara precisely guesses that Gail lives on the Upper West Side. So her and Sam panic and they end up stealing the detective's police car. The scene switches to Gail in her baller loft with a brother. A young one at that. It looks like Gail got her groove back. Ghostface ends up calling her house phone and the boyfriend picks up.
Hello?
I'm immediately disappointed in him because his senses didn't start tingling. And as a representative for the Black community, I can say that when we hear creepy voices from the phone that we don't know on phones that aren't ours, we start questioning some stuff. And we wouldn't stick around to see what was going to happen next. He just gives the phone to Gail as if it's normal for her to receive calls from Ghostface. No urgency whatsoever. Gail starts talking to Ghostface and at least she's on guard. The camera follows her closely as she talks to him, but we hear noises in the back and it's obvious that he's there. Suddenly, Ghostface murks her boyfriend. Effortlessly. And then he ends up chasing Gail up and down her humongous apartment, onto her patio, and then into her closet that she's able to lock herself in. She grabs her Glock and then shoots 2 rounds into the door, and she's like, "How's that for nostalgia?" Ghostface calls Gail on the house phone and he goes,
You missed.
"Sure I did."
You win. I'm in the elevator, headed for the ground floor.
"Sure you are." She shoots again.
Maybe you did hit me. Maybe I'm wounded. Or maybe I'm wearing a bulletproof vest.
"That's why I'm gonna shoot you in the head." You know, I bet the people who lived there never expected to hear gunshots in their own apartment complex that they're most likely paying upwards of $13,000 a month for. They could have stayed in the hood for that. She opens the door to see nothing there and steps out, cautiously walking around.
You would have made a good killer, Gail. Sydney never would have made sense. Dewey was the fan favorite. But you cracking under the pressure and turning into Ghostface would have been a great twist. You never got to be the leading lady, did you? It was always all about poor sweet Sydney sucking up all the oxygen. What did that lead you to be?
The brains and the sex appeal?
Sorry about your boyfriend. All those muscles didn't help much.
Can you hold, please?
What?
That part was super funny and unexpected. Bravo, writers. Bravo. She calls him right back to hear the phone ring from her closet behind her, and she shoots into it like 007 or something. Gail definitely got some classes in at the range. And she's right, he is in there because he busts out and tackles her. They struggle for power, but Ghostface prevails and stabs her a good 2 times. Gail, though, is a fighter, so it's almost like it doesn't even faze her because she still gives him a run for his money, even making him trip into the glass table. Ghostface is always falling everywhere. You guys ever notice that? He's not suave at all, quite the clumsy killer no matter who imitates him. He always ends up on the floor. Anyway, he ends up on top of Gail this time and they're both using all of their strength. He's trying to push the knife into her face and she is pushing it away. Then Sam and Tara run in and Sam grabs the gun off the floor. Hey, face. She starts shooting at him because he manages to run out unscathed. Her and Tara run to Gail, but I'm like, no, run after him. He's obviously caught off guard. Sam at the very least should have ended this once and for all and went full Bond Casino Royale on him. It's the least she could do. Gail is taking her last breaths and she's like, he didn't get me. Tell Sydney he never got me. Oh, is this the last we're gonna see of Gail? Oh yeah, and if you're wondering where Sid is, she basically told them, hell no, I'm not coming back. I'm protecting me and mine, and watch your back. But in all actuality, Neve Campbell and the studio had a salary dispute that ended in her deciding not to be a part of this installment. So they wrote it in a fashion where Sid decided to stay back and keep her family safe. So, but it's cool. I mean, like, I don't know how much sense it would make to keep seeing her in all of these spin-offs. Are you guys gonna have her fighting Ghostface until she's a senior citizen like Jamie Lee Curtis? I mean, I guess, but even Jamie is having a hard time killing Michael no matter how many times she says this is the end. I didn't even see the latest Halloween yet though, so tell me, did she finally take him out? Gail presumably dies. They finally got good old Gail.
But wait! There's more!
The medics get there right at the end as usual and they find a weak pulse. Alrighty, Gaily Gail, you live. You live to fight another day. They're all at the hospital waiting to hear about Gail's condition. Then Danny runs in and he's all like, I got here as fast as I could. Given past history and current circumstances, everybody glared at him. I mean, it's warranted. They don't trust anybody. I mean, how could you? So they're all just really shooken up at this moment. Mindy is worried about her and her twin Chad getting hurt again. And then Sam starts to realize that Ghostface really only wants her, so she volunteers as tribute to sacrifice herself to save her friends and her sister. And then little Tara steps up with an inspirational speech and declines the offer, telling her sister to let them protect her. They get all juiced and giddy, start shouting that Core 4 mess. I can't believe this is actually written into the script. The Scream 1 originals would never. They come up with a plan to bait Ghostface again, and they call the detective to ask for his help in luring him in. One thing I will say about the Core 4 is that they will use anyone and everyone to help them beat Ghostface. They use any and all of their resources without fear of getting an innocent bystander killed in all of their mess. Savages. Let's kill this son of a That's how the detective sounds to me. It's really hard doing man voices. They get this bright idea to take the subway because the detective tells him to travel in public. He says it gives them a better chance to survive, but I have to disagree. We've seen Ghostface kill in broad daylight, and pedestrians in this world seem to never witness it, even by chance. They get to the subway and Mindy irresponsibly misses the train that the rest of the squad is in. I guess it's Halloween night. There's so many people in that crowd that could have split them up, yeah, but honestly, with everything going on in their lives and knowing how Ghostface moves, there is no excuse to lose your sibling. Your twin in a crowd of masked people. My brother would never let me walk behind him unguarded. Heck, me and my sister would be waist to waist. If she gets lost, I get lost. At least we're together. So Chad, you should be ashamed. But he did try at the last minute to pull her in and he was unsuccessful. She ends up catching the next train and surprise, surprise, Virgin Ethan is right behind her. She orders him to get away from her because collectively the Core 4 still don't trust him. She makes him stand far away and he does so but keeps eye contact with her as a way to watch out for her. On the other train, Tara finds out they have 10 more stops to go and we the audience know some mess is about to go down because the lights start to flicker and they're starting to see ghost face masks everywhere. On Mindy's train, she starts seeing multiple ghost faces too. They're obviously regular people wearing the costumes until one specific ghost face sitting down zeroes in on Mindy. She figures he's the real one. The lights go in and out, and one minute he's there and the next he's not. Lots of camera play and mind tricks until eventually he's up in her face playing Fruit Ninja with her stomach. And of course, nobody saw. A train full of people. As a matter of fact, a train overpacked with people, and nobody sees him slicing and dicing this poor girl in the corner. If I were Mindy, I'd give up on society at this point. Just once, I'd like a realistic public scene where someone sees and screams their head off, making Ghostface panic, and a group of like felons nearby are like, "Hey, what's going on over there?" And then they'll come and beat Ghostface down, like A-Town stump him, and then snatch his mask off, and we get the killer reveal really early in the movie. That would never happen. Ethan sees Mindy on the floor bleeding out and pulls her off the last stop. Now, it's time to tell me your favorite Scream movie if you haven't already. Which one is your favorite? Mine by far is the first one, with number 4 coming in second and number 5 coming in third. Let's get back into it. The other half of the core 4 make it off the train to meet up with Kirby, and she tells them that she spoke with Bailey. Who? Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Bailey is a detective's name. Wait, all this time? Oh, it's his last name. Okay, I told you guys in my pro video, I'll watch a whole movie and not know somebody's name. Kirby asks where Mindy and Ethan were, and they let her know that they were 5 minutes behind them. Again, you know how Ghostface moves. Why aren't you guys waiting for them to get off their subway train? Bad Chad, bad brother. Sam is visibly hurt as she has to tell Danny, "Not you." What? Don't trust anyone, remember? We don't know you. You know me. You're not Woodsboro. Girl, Woodsboro is not Woodsboro. That town ain't loyal either. Y'all see how it did y'all. So he's pretty understanding. He has a good attitude and he's just like, yo, we'll be safe and whatever.
Oh.
You gonna cry in the car.
They send Danny Boy on his way and they go to the destination, which ends up being the old theater that we saw beforehand. Kirby shows them the kill box that she constructed to kill Ghostface. She tells them that she has the one and only gun and will be the only one to use it because she is the only one that has a badge. And that's the way it's gonna be. This is so stupid. This whole plan looks stupid. I'd be more comfortable facing him on an open street. You're safe here. Sam tries to get a hold of Mindy, and of course she can't. She stands in front of one of the Ghostface costumes and sees good old Daddy-O's reflection again, and he's all like, "You know you're not safe here. When someone says you're safe here, it means you're not. You're smarter than this, Sam. Grab a weapon and clear this place yourself. You know I'm right." Why is Billy so talkative and direct now? He wasn't this vocal in the first movie. He was rather stoic and dodgy. Now he has this distorted fatherly wisdom he uses to coach his daughter to safety, yet also to become more and more like him at the same time. He wants the best for her, but then again wants her to be the kill happy nut. Billy Loomis didn't seem like he particularly enjoyed killing. His demeanor showed that it was more of a coping mechanism and even the most severe way to exact revenge on the people directly and indirectly tied to his pain. Whew, that was a mouthful. If anything, Stu was more of the rebel without a cause, a born mutineer. It would make more sense for him to be aimlessly coaching Sam from the underworld or wherever he's coaching her from. But it wouldn't make much sense being that he was just a supporting character. He doesn't really have any connection to Sam. I'd appreciate it more if they had let Billy be more of a dark, looming, speechless character that Samantha would have flashes of just before something sinister happened. Any dialogue spoken should have been minimal, but left in the previous movie just as a reintroduction to an old character besides Sydney, Gail, or Dewey. She opens the casing where his old Ghostface costume is and grabs the knife that Billy used to kill or hurt his victims with. My favorite. Sam looks for Kirby, but she's nowhere to be found. Neither is the rest of the Core 4, or the other half of the Core 4. She gets a call from Detective Bailey. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to do his voice again. Get everyone out of there, Sam. You're not safe. I feel like I sound like the guy from Men in Black.
Compared to you humans, I'm on the top rung of the evolutionary ladder. So can it, alright?
I heard from the Atlanta field office. They said Agent Reed has been on a downward spiral ever since the Woodsboro murders last year. What are you talking about? They fired Kirby 2 months ago for being mentally unstable. She's no longer with the FBI. Ooh, bass drop. Climax kickoff. While Sam's stomach is in her ass, she runs to the gate to try to get out, but of course it's locked. The projector behind her starts showing a scene from the movie within the movie, Stab 1. It's a depiction of Casey Becker's Muck Duck from 27 years ago. The screen cuts to Tara and Chad having a moment of young love because puberty, and what better time to fall for each other than when a masked killer is on the loose looking for you and your friends. Hollywood loves to romanticize trauma bonding. They finally kiss. Honestly, I thought he'd be more attracted to Sam. It seems like they made Tara his romantic interest on a whim. They have zero chemistry. Anyway, Ghostface stabs her from the back. Like, this is the one time I was happy he popped out, because I'll never understand romantic scenes in the midst of a horrific situation like this. Chad uses his high school jock muscles to deck Ghostface right in the mouth and helps Tara escape. They run into Sam and they all try to get out. Tara spots an exit on the second floor of the theater, and Ghostface does a spider monkey leap off the theater stage like,
Gotcha!
Before Chad quarterback tackles him, Ghostface gets to slicing again. Always manages to cut somebody no matter how outnumbered he is. When is it going to click to these people that jumping Ghostface might stop him from killing y'all? It's like the Core 4 and every other prey in the Scream series is strategic when they're planning to kill Ghostface. But when Ghostface, who only has a knife and no supernatural capabilities, shows up, they forget everything and run for their lives. What's the point of making plays if the team is just gonna freestyle anyway? The Core 4, well, the Core 3 at this point scatter like roaches, and Chad gets left to face Ghostface. He throws a camera at him. Not just any camera, one of those video production cameras from those 90s shows. That one almost sent Ghostface to his maker, I ain't gonna lie. They get away and Chad keeps the camera. That way when they're being chased by Ghostface, he can throw it at Ghostface, and he does it, and it's hilarious. And I know Ghostface is pissed off because nothing hurts like that old school camera to the shoulder blade, man. They end up running back to the snack bar area because they didn't run a whole circle around that theater, and Chad is throwing popcorn machines and stuff at Ghostface. The girls even managed to get Ghostface by the arm so Chad can punch him, and you can tell he's starting to feel a little confident because he's like, yeah, I can take this fool. Like, I used to play football. Tara even gets a little hood and kicks Ghostface upside the chin, but still doesn't manage to get that mask off. The mask is airtight. Chad picks up a gumball machine and gets ready to finish him off, but then another Ghostface cuts him in the ribs. Told you there was more than one. Why wouldn't there be? There's always more than one. So they literally shank him like they're in a prison courtyard. I thought I was watching the mayor of Kingstown for a minute. This scene was so ghetto. Tara's like, no! Because her one true love just got stolen. Her and Sam get trapped by the two ghost faces, and they're back to back about to get it popping. Sam's got a big old brick in her hand, and she's like, are you ready? I need you to be ready. And Tara's like, come on, And then good old Kirby comes out of nowhere just shooting, trying to run the ghost faces off. And Sam and Tara look at her like, yo, get away from us. We know it's you. And Kirby is trying to tell them, They beat my too. One of them knocked me out backstage. That's where I've been all this time, like laid out. Detective Bailey comes from the opposite direction as Sam and Tara look on. He has a gun drawn at Kirby and she him. He accuses her of killing Quinn and Kirby genuinely looks confused. She tells the girls not to believe anything Bailey has been telling them. And then Ghostface comes running up behind Detective Bailey, knife out, and she screams for him to watch out. But instead of turning around, he decides to shoot her instead. Bye bye, Kirby. The ghost face stands next to Detective Bailey, and then the other walks up and he tells them, "Good job, both of you." Aw, man, he's in on it. I can't say I'm super duper surprised, just because given its history, the ghost faces can literally be anyone. I mean, Sid was hunted down by her own brother, her own cousin, her own boyfriend. I'm surprised her dad didn't come after her at some point. Whatever happened to her dad? So Ghostface on the right removes its mask. It's Ethan, with this huge grin on his face like he's about to tell the worst joke on earth. Mindy was right. It was easy to juke the roommate lottery. I mean, all I had to do to meet you was room with a conceited, condescending alpha, literally named Chad. It felt good to kill him. He holds up the scream mask in his hand. This was your grandmother, Sam. Nancy Loomis? Really runs in your family, doesn't it? Y'all remember Nancy's crazy self. They find out Ethan's name isn't really Ethan and that Detective Bailey is his actual dad. Wait, if it's you two, that just leaves Mindy. It's plausible that Sam would think it was Mindy because she still doesn't know that Mindy got shanked on the subway car, but it's not. It's Quinn. And somehow she's almost as tall as her dad. Like, what she got on, platform boots? So they do what the killers always do, which is explain who, what, when, where, and why they are cornering their victims. They have a huge chip on their shoulder because Richie was their family. By Richie, I mean Sam's ex-boyfriend from Scream 5. I mean, I understand hereditary mental illnesses, and if Richie was as insane and murderous as he seemed, Scream is alluding to the fact that it may have been passed down from his father, Detective Wayne Bailey. But it gets messy because the other kids, Ethan and Quinn, also have murderous tendencies because they want to exact revenge on Sam for killing Richie, even if it was self-defense. And looking back at the other movies, everyone seems to only want to exact revenge through murder. I mean, muck duck. I would go as far as to say it can't be this common to just want to kill someone just because you're mad. There has to be something in the Woodsboro water, like lead or something, that makes these people so impulsive and demented. Or Woodsboro just needs to go down as the worst place for people to ever come from. And yes, I know Richie technically wasn't really from Woodsboro, but we'll throw him in that crazy bunch too. Detective Bailey plays Richie's videos on the projector and reveals that he helped Richie build that shrine in the theater. It didn't actually belong to Greg and Jason like we originally thought. He tells Sam that he built a tribute to his son, and this is why she has to die here, on some real ritualistic stuff. Before they get into it, Sam takes a moment to metaphorically piss on Richie's grave. She berates him, calls him a man baby that cried before she slit his throat. Quinn is over emotional and cannot take the banter, so she runs at Sam full force, knife out, screaming, "Shut the up!" And Tara knocks her out with a brick. Kirby comes out of nowhere again, not dead, and shoots at the family. She manages to shoot Detective Bailey, but Ethan tackles her and stabs her in the stomach again. And I say again because she was stabbed in the stomach in Scream 4, and she has the scars to prove it. She's about to have so many battle scars at this point. Sam knocks him out with a brick. They love that brick. She takes the knife from Kirby's stomach and uses it to turn Ethan into pork chops. She leaves him where he's at, not ensuring that he's dead, and then joins Tara in climbing to the exit on the second floor. Of course, Tara slips off the rail and is dangling on the edge of the balcony where Sam holds onto her for her dear life. Ethan and his dad come out of the woodworks, all regenerated, and Ethan tries to stab her from the lower level. Quinn runs up to the second level and the girls have a revelation they basically have to split up. Tara is like, "Let me go. Trust me." And it's a full circle moment because previously in the beginning of the movie, Tara was upset with Sam for not letting her go and be her own human. Sam hesitates, but she gives her the knife and lets her go anyway, letting Tara fall to Ethan's level. He stabs her on arrival, but she does him in as well, stabbing him in the face. The mouth, to be exact. Sam is still on the second level balcony and has a gun in her hand that she found nearby. She watches Quinn watch her brother die at the hands of Tara. "You'll die a virgin." She's all liberated. Sam tells Quinn, "Looks like you're down another brother." Quinn, again, doesn't like the banter, so she runs at her full force and she gets shot right in the head. Quinn's dad is right behind her, mortified. All his kids are dead now, partially because of him and his bad parenting, and Sam conveniently runs out of bullets. And now the detective has his gun pointed at her, but he didn't even shoot it. He just ran at her and she ran at him, and they end up running into each other and falling off the balcony. What? So he wakes up all alone, all late. Sam and Tara are nowhere to be found, and then he gets a call on his phone from Ghostface.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Ugh, my voice sounds gross. Sam busts out in the Ghostface costume and gives him like 40 whacks.
Janice Walker took an axe, gave that Marcus 40 whacks.
Samantha Loomis took an axe, gave Detective 40 whacks. Tara looks at her like she's crazy or something, and it causes Sam to kind of pull back. "My father was a murderer. No matter what you think, I'm better than that." "Thank you. Thank you." Then she and Tara look back at each other and they speak without even saying anything. Tara basically gave her the stamp of approval to kill this fool because in reality, he'll never stop. Sam stabs him in the eye. Goodness, this movie it's X-rated. I mean, in the 90s, for sure, this would have gotten an X rating, but studies have shown that people want this type of gore and violence in movies, and you have to up the ante every time. It's crazy to me, but it's what the people want.
When she saw what she had done, she gave his brother 41.
When she saw what she had done, she gave Detective 41. They come out and sit on the steps of the stage. Why do people do that? Why do you rest at the crime scene? This is not a moment for sentiment. Get the heck out of there. And didn't Tara have asthma in the last movie? How is she not dead of hyperventilation? Ethan has one last hoorah and runs at them full force with a knife. This is why using a knife as a murder weapon is so stupid. He gets a literal TV thrown at him, the same one that kills Stumacher, allegedly. And Kirby is the one who does it, so she's not dead, of course. Danny and the cops run in at the last minute. Just useless. Every police force in every movie has the most severe case of CPT time, except in Scream 1 when Sid first got attacked by Ghostface. They were there in under like a minute, and oh, that was when Dewey was starting out on the force. Moment of silence. Danny and Sam embrace one another. That's a good man, sweetheart. I don't know too many guys that would stick around a woman like you with all that baggage. He's definitely gonna die in this series. He's too pure to live on. Kirby gets wheeled onto the ambulance truck and tells the girls to call her if they ever needed her because now they're all a part of the same family. I feel like this is a passing of the baton moment from Sid and Gail to Sam and Kirby. Now we're about to get like 4 more movies out of them, I bet. Tara starts to cry over Chad, but what do you know? He's starting to get wheeled out and not in a body bag. He has an actual oxygen mask on because gangsters don't die. I swear, Chad is the 50 Cent of Scream. That man always gets stabbed or left for dead, and somehow he gets away alive. Like, he gets stabbed a lot. She runs up to him like, "How are you alive?" And he weakly holds up the number 4. His core 4 bullshit. It's starting to sound like Vin Diesel and his obsession with his
Family.
He's able to defy death, gravity, and time in the name of
Family.
I mean, that's the logic he gives. Tara snatches the poor man's oxy mask off and kisses him. Ugh. First off, he was just bleeding whole blood clots out of that thing when he got shanked, you nasty. Let that man heal. He has like 15 holes in his body and you're using the rest of his breathing capacity to tongue his bloody mouth down. Just selfish. Mindy runs up like, "Oh my gosh, I know who the killer is." Yes, girl, we all know now, and it's not you, thankfully. Hopefully it never will be. The twins are definitely rubbing off on me now, and I am starting to really like them, and I'm gonna be upset if one of them dies, which most likely will happen. Yeah, so Chad and Mindy ride off in his ambulance, and Sam, for a brief moment, goes to a dark place as she examines the ghost face mask in her hands. But then she snaps out of it, and it seems like she's still unbalanced and has this urge to kill like her father did. In the last movie, her dad said she was on antipsychotic meds. His words, not mine. I'm sure we're going to see her do some whacking things in the next few installments. I'm sure she's going to quench her thirst in more ways than one. Her, Danny, and Tara walk off into the sunlight. So cool. They all survive and ended up in relationships. I mean, it's clear that Mindy and Kirby are going in that direction. Everybody is coupled up. Scream 6 was pretty good. It was everything I expected it to be, but to be honest, I am just here for nostalgia. I have an appreciation for all of the movies, but most importantly, the original, the 1996 version is hands down still the best one, and it is the reason why I am still watching this series today. I will say I got the impression that the ghost faces were going to have some supernatural capabilities in this one because of how the trailer portrayed it. They were saying like, this one is unlike any other. It just feels different. And they said that in the last movie as well. So, I mean, I saw him in the gas station with a shotgun and I'm hyped. Like, okay, Ghostface is evolving with the times. He finally dropped that stupid knife. But I was wrong. Of course I was. I misread the situation. He has to stick to tradition. I get it. But I would say in the next movie, like, get a bigger knife, like a machete. Be a boss. I will say though, I am extremely excited and happy to see all of the theories floating around the internet of what Scream 7 will have in store, just the possibilities and where it can go. I am stoked and I am elated. I'm happy that we're here today and this is still a successful franchise, and I want you guys all to go and see it, even if I just spoiled the entire thing for you. But if you're one of those people who don't care, I hope you enjoyed it. I will go ahead and give this 6.7. I'll give it a 6.7. Don't get mad at me. It's my opinion. And we'll see how the rest of the movies go. Let me know what you thought of this movie and this recap. What do you think the next Scream movies will be like? Because you know it's not over, right?